You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Well, this is your boy Al Mega once again, and we're here with a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we're bringing it back to some comic books. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking some independent goodness from a dope new publisher called Dead Sky Publishing. I'm saying the stories ain't dead and the sky is high with them. That's right, baby. They have a big boss right here in the building right now. He is a writer. He is a creator. He is a future star right here. Let me tell you, this book that he has out via Dead Sky, let me tell you, it's fire. It's called Corvus. This man is a legend, for real, in the making. You guys are going to be speaking about him, going to be making big lines and cons with the only a creator, a writer, the man himself, Double B, buddy. We're doing, baby. How you doing?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming down, brother, hanging out. Listen, it's been a long time in the making. You know, there's been issues in scheduling this, you know, and let me first say I apologize. Yeah, in the background don't know this, but I know this, and it bothered me. But, you know, I just want to apologize to the man. But he's finally here on the Comic Crusaders podcast to talk about this dope new project and, obviously, a whole lot more. So, yo, Double B, what's popping, kiddo? How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm glad to be here, and, you know, no worries at all. We got it done, so...
That's what it's about, because this fire project needs to be spoken about. You know what I mean? You know, platforms need to be covering independent comics, and if you're saying that you're an independent comic platform, if you're not spoken to BB, let me tell you, you're doing stuff for this service. Yes, that they may do that because internet connection and old laptop is the stuff that happens. Thank you, Streamyard, once again for not having a good day. With that, yo, baby, let them know where you originally from. And the most important question you'll ever be asked in your whole life, BB, is this the most important? Most important. What is the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Oh, man. So I'm originally from the Albany, New York area. I've kind of hung around most of my life. Okay. Fandom is tough because my dad had old Superman comics laying around the garage when I was a kid, and I can remember some like old Brainiac covers and cool. being like, this is dope. This is something I would be into, but I was like, 10 years old and didn't really get into it. I got into comics kind of later in life. So the first.
When you say late, I mean, look at me. With this doesn't happen overnight, and this is not die, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a die. Even though maybe I should make the Al Mega, great black die here. But when you talk about later in life, how old were you when you like kind of immersed?
I think probably 21, 22 years old.
What? Wait a minute. What? Are you? I mean, you're probably the third out of my 470 plus podcasts that told me that at an age like that. What was it that got you into reading, comics again?
Well, my friends had been into them like the entire time we were growing up. So I always heard a lot and just, I don't know, probably spent too much time playing video games and not enough time reading comic books.
You're an OG gamer. What's your game? Where are you a boss at?
I like Halo, Gears of War, stuff like that, shooters.
Oh, you're a Gears man? Well,
yeah.
Did you finish every game?
Yeah.
Hey, but so what was the fastest run you had through a Gears of War?
Oh man, that's tough to say because I like to play them all on Insane.
I'm insane. Listen, yeah. I was playing one of my best boys, 13 Crusaders, shout out back in the day, right? He was a boss in this. I would say intermediate. Okay. And we were playing together as a team, and they murdered him, son. Murder him. He goes, "You're not getting out of this." He got me so livid by not believing in me. I'm like, he should be cheering me on, not telling me I'm gonna die. Just to prove him wrong, I murdered the whole squad somehow, bro. One of my proudest Gears of Wars moment ever. So 13th Thoma, bro. For not believing in me, how dare you not believe in your boy?
Squad wipe is the best. As that's the way to do it. So fun.
All right, so here you are. Then you're 21, getting back into the culture and enjoying what you're enjoying. Where did the creative spark come? Then did that come before comics? Was it always there? Like where did that come from then?
It kind of happened all at the same time. So the first book I picked up again was a book called Battle Pope by Robert Kirkman.
Oh, great book.
Yeah,
fun, a lot of fun.
And I think that's what kind of when I realized, like, I've always had like a weird, goofy sense of humor. And I think after reading that book, I kind of realized, like, oh, I can do something with that creatively that, like, I don't need permission to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to wait around for other people to, like, join in, like, other than an artist. So I started writing as much as I could, and it took off from there. I'm like primarily a letterer right now, but Corvus is a book I've been writing for close to 6 years. So it's really
6 years.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right. So talk to me about that early inspiration for Corvus. Like, when did it come about? And being that again, 6 years is a long time. That's so obviously you hold that to be something very personal. How did you fit the right team to make this vision you've held on to for so long come to life?
Yeah, I was writing a book called Pratt with an artist called Brennan Fremantle, and there was a scene in one of the issues where it was just like the two characters were sitting in a car the whole time, and he texted me because he was like, probably bored and frustrated of like trying to make that look interesting. So he was like, "Yo, can I draw monsters next time?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll figure it out." And that was kind of like the spark to. I've always been a fan of horror my entire life, but that was the spark to kind of like try to give it a shot writing.
I gotta ask you, wait a minute. Before you even continue on that, I mean, I'm a horror man. That's one of my favorite genres right there in genres. What is if you could recommend a horror movie to anyone, what's your go-to of a recommendation?
Favorite classic horrors are probably Halloween and The Thing.
You're my homie, but if you were here, I'd give you a hug. Yeah, bro. Right on, kiddo. Right on. You're on the right path with me, kiddo. Yeah.
If you're looking for like more modern stuff, I don't know, like It Follows and Hereditary and Midsummer and those types of things.
I definitely love It Follows because it has such an old school vibe, a creepiness feel, but it had modern things intertwined with the old school vibe. So it was like very well made, and I think something that both old and new could appreciate. Yeah, one of those few films that could, I think that, yeah, I dig it. I feel you. So on all the Midsummer, gotta give it a rewatch to kind of get into it again. I think it's
there's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little different. There's a lot to do with it. So maybe I got to give it a rewatch. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna say I hate the film. I'm not gonna say I love the film. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it a rewatch under better conditions and see. Maybe I shouldn't be fucked up when I watch it. So all right. So a continuation of the creative journey. So you've had this story for so long, right? You start putting out there. How did you, like start building it? Where did you learn from, and how did you start building a team that could make this vision come to life?
Yeah, originally Brennan was going to be the artist on this as well, and I think like when it got time for me to be ready to actually start making it, he's a tattoo artist and he's got like an entire life, Okay. So I think he just didn't have the time to take it on. And eventually I found a dude named Christopher Sassman on Instagram. I think he lives in South Africa. Super, super talented dude. Did all the interiors for the entire series. Done most of the covers as well.
What?
And then, yeah, Allison Hu was recommended to me. The colorist was recommended to me by another colorist. And so far, like working with Chris and Allison together, I've said it before, but they're like just the perfect pair. They don't have to talk. They do talk, but they like know what direction they're going in. I think when we did the first issue, Chris was like, well, I'm going to have a lot of coloring notes because I want it to look a specific way. Yeah. And then after we did that, he was like, nope, Allison's got it. I don't have to give her any notes or feed her anything. She sees what I'm doing.
Nice symbiosis or symbiotic relationship, right? That energy flowing, having that shared a vision. But I mean, in order for that to happen, that means you've made the vision clear. So how did you help along in that process to allow those creators to build something where they felt such a synergy?
Yeah, Chris has been a big help there too. My whole thing is I like to work with people that are having fun. I want them to enjoy the thing we're doing. I don't want it to be just a job for them because that kind of sucks. Like, sure, it's a gig, but I don't know. I want your heart to be in it, especially something like this. This book is like a lot of my like personal mental health journey and struggles. So
let's talk about it. Let's talk about those mental health struggles, if you don't mind. I mean, and as a man myself, yes, I'm on that journey, and rebuilding a life that, I'm living a life that's much different than I had 2 years ago right now. You know what I mean? So, and those adjustments and trying to just learn how to live in this new world without my loved ones right now, it's kind of like, insane. And it does mess with my mental energy, synergy sometimes, like, what's going on, but it's okay. I'm running to heal. So, I mean, talk about those if you can, like that, if you would like to.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm currently in a similar situation, going through a divorce and stuff. But yeah.
You understood me completely.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess when I was working on this book, it was really like looking a lot to my childhood and kind of early stuff with my parents. My dad was born with a congenital heart defect. So like he lived a life. He was cool with it. But I think, growing up my entire life, he was sick. So we would be in and out of the hospital, or like he had a heart attack on Thanksgiving Day, like when we were out to eat. Sorry, there's a motorcycle going by.
No worries. It came at a time, it would because that probably made you angry. You know what I mean? That roar came. That was an outside acknowledgement that maybe that day that you were angry, like, damn, why this got to keep happening? I'm sure.
Yeah, and it was a lot of that until he eventually passed away. I was 21, so kind of around the time I got back into comics.
Wow.
Wait.
So, for me, comics is also an outreach. I grew up in a household, a lot of stuff going on. Again, I'm going to be sharing my journey right now. This is the way. This is why we got to talk in life, right? Because everybody goes through things. So I had a tough time growing up. It was in the perfect family. Comics were a huge outlet for me and escaping what was around me at the time. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about speaking to creators. I feel that I owe creators a debt of gratitude, even new ones, because even today with what I'm going through, when I pick up a book, I'm able to forget for a little bit, and that's something that I mean is priceless, at least for me. So how did comics help you then? While you were dealing with those struggles?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you're saying, it was an escape, especially something like, Battle Pope or just like goofy books that I was reading at the time. I think I like tore through, well, not so goofy, but tore through like Walking Dead as it was coming out, and Chew and like a lot of big image books.
That means you were collecting them at my very same time. That was Walking Dead, Chew, Conan, the Secret Avengers at the time, the good version of it.
Yeah. There were so many. Yeah, there were a lot of incredible books at that time, so it was like really easy to get lost in just whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then it was really easy to get lost in writing at that point too, because I just had all of this stuff from reading kind of, running through my brain, and I would sit down and write all night, just endlessly. It's harder for me to do it now, but yeah, when I was
You
a
were in
bit,
a different mindset then, of course. I mean, due to the energy that was around you,
for
and I
sure.
guess that was just as an expression of the grief you had, and you dealt with it a little bit differently than most would deal with it, which is amazing. Like, I don't know if I could be, well, that's a lie, because I went through something and I became even more productive. I got more focused on the work, so I don't deal with the pain, but that's also not a healthy thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, it can be a tool, but sure, yeah, you got to deal with your stuff too. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of where a lot of my creative process has been lately.
Wow.
Is kind of just putting myself into projects, and it's like that old "write what you know" saying. Like I think a lot of that for me is like, well, I know how I feel and I know how I've been through certain situations, and so to bring those into a format that I love kind of comes naturally. Um,
Mm.
and it's also really hard for me to write long form. I've tried novels and stuff several times, so like comics where it's like, all right, I can figure out 22 pages at a time.
But how
And
did you learn that though? What was the process and the steps that you took? And like what era again when you took those steps to learn?
yeah, well, I was writing a lot of poetry, and I was like, well, I'm going to try prose. And so like I tried to write, I guess, like an autobiography a few times, but I was like 28, 29 years old. So like I had been through stuff, but it was probably pretty young to be writing my lived experience.
And absolutely, of course, because you got to talk about this podcast and this conversation, in the book. Yeah.
What's yeah, right. Yeah. This will be chapter 12. You'll have your own chapter in the autobiography. Um,
The mega combo. There we go. That's a chapter
yeah.
name. Right.
Yeah. So I think just getting frustrated with doing that, and then like having at the time reading a ton of comics, I was like, well, these are like, I can digest these pretty easy as I read them. I sit, you can read 5 or 6 comics at a time, but I'm not going to read 5 or 6 books in a day. You know what I mean?
Not a book, absolutely, but I used to wake my ex brother-in-law used to be fascinated by me because I used to pick up my comics on a Wednesday, but I would wait till a Saturday morning. I would wake up at 8 a.m., make a pot of coffee, have my stack of comics for the week, sit at the kitchen table, and just read every fucking issue. And
Ritual
he
is
would wake
important.
up at 9 a.m. He wake up an hour later, see me with my big cup of coffee, reading the stack of comics. He goes, I don't know how you do it, bro, but I admire it.
Yeah, having a ritual is important, I think.
It is, it is, it is.
Yeah.
And you better be adding this one to their morning pull list. I'll tell you that much. This will be a great read with coffee in the morning. You sit on your porch any day from that sky. You stare at the sky first, make sure nothing going on, and dive into what Corvus is. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate
I want
that.
to show you this wonderful press release by my big homie, DHPR, Don't Hide PR. Melissa, a big shout out. She helped put this together. So, a big salute to her. But I mean, look at this beautiful, crazy looking cover. What is going on here, bro? What the hell, bro? God, I don't want nobody to be bleeding on my phone or tablet, bro. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, so this is the cover to a game called Quest for War, being held up by our main character, Darren. And it's kind of an allusion to what happens in the series. So that this guy, Darren, is really talented at this video game and is like being tracked by an intergalactic kind of like army resistance type thing. And as Earth is being invaded by aliens, they come and get him because they know he'll be helpful to what they have to do. So it's a lot of like Last Starfighter meets like Alien is kind of how I pitched it.
Ooh.
So it's
all right, 2 movies I love. So you're selling me. You're definitely selling my generation on this, buddy.
Yeah, it's I wanted it to be kind of Last Starfighter-ish, but then like, well, we're also not like messing around. Like there's going to be some stuff happening because the mayor, as you can see, this pink ship that is chasing them is a ship, one of the villain ships. So the mayor is short for nightmare. I've had a lot of nightmares.
Okay.
And what they do is affect. They affect you psychically and make you like relive your life's worst traumas. And then that's how they take over planets. So they do that on a global scale, and people essentially, you know, kind of go crazy, kill themselves, kill other people. So they just affect them psychically and then let whatever race they're invading do the work for them.
Well, I'm hoping that you're not a Buddy Stradamus over here and telling the future. Because, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the sky lately, apparently. So let's see what's going on. But dude, this looks beautiful. You know, I know what you're talking about, but man, just seeing this artistry, very manga-ish, like what's that, Robotech for me?
Yeah. So beautiful. Chris, you know, is a manga appreciator for sure. And I think when we were having early conversations, I was like, I want it to look reminiscent of 90s animation, and like if this would ever get turned into a cartoon, like this is kind of how I would like it to look. So
well, that answers that question, folks. He wants a cartoon out of this. So yes. Yes. Listen, it's about manifesting, buddy. You got to put these things out to the universe because they will in fact happen, I promise you. And again, look at the gorgeousness of this book from a new publisher like Dead Sky Publishing. I mean, yo, this book is, look at this artistry. Yo. Your team is insane, son. For real.
Yeah, we're all having a lot of fun.
Bro, look at it. Look at this panel work. I mean, the lettering, the coloring, everything. I mean, this can compete obviously with the big two. Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
It's a beautiful looking book, man. So talk to me. What's the idea behind the Corvus? Like, how many issues we going? Is it an ongoing? Is it a mini? Like, what's popping? What's the story?
We are picked up with Dead Sky for 6 issues, and then we'll see how it does. You know, if there's a need for more, the ending is pretty open ended. So there's a lot I can fit into this universe. So we'll see. It's kind of like, in my head, it's kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy type situation where it's like, you know, we get through this villain, but then it's space. So how many more villains can there be?
It's vast. There could be a shitload of villains. Thank you. I love villains, so I hope you're very imaginative in these villains, because like this first issue, and I see what's going on. So I'm definitely digging it. You know, so beyond the 6 issues, do you have at least, you know, in your archives, if you will, more than just 6 issues worth of story?
Not formally written, but I have ideas for sure. I think I'm at a point where it's like, well, we'll see what happens. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
I love it. This is a beautiful looking book, man. 6 issues, Dead Sky. And why Dead Sky? Like, how did you come across? You know, what's the Pro-Man story behind that? Behind, you know, the Buddyverse and Dead Sky? Yeah,
so I was pitching kind of openly, and it wasn't getting much attention. And Dead Sky is run by Steve Wands, who is a fellow letterer who has lettered, you know, like all of Jeff Lemire's books, a ton of stuff for DC. And we kind of already knew each other from lettering. Yeah. And so he shot me an email and was like, I'm doing this thing. We're starting a new publisher. Let me take a look at this book. Nice. And so, yeah, I sent it to him and he was into it. And that's all I needed. It's a very creator-owned thing. It's
nice.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of work. They're doing a lot of work too. They're printing it and putting us out, and hooking us up with Melissa and making stuff happen. So
Melissa's the boss, and folks, if you don't guys know, if you are a creator that has a project out there, you got to check out this one website right here, don'thighpr.com. Let me tell you, Melissa Mazzara is amazing. Says, get that work, yo, for real. Talk to her. She got some ideas. Let's go, baby.
She's the best.
Absolutely. But with this Dead Sky, like, what else we got besides Corvus? We're still, we're getting to the end of the year. I can't believe it's almost, fall already.
It's coming.
Coming upon us rather quickly. Like, outside of Corvus that you could talk about that's popping? Like, can you give me some gossip? You know what I mean? Put you on the stripper pole. Can you tell us?
I don't know about gossip. They have another book that they just finished. The final issue came out called Deprog. And then they're cool because they have a lot of different types of properties. So they have like an entire series of like splatter Western books.
Okay.
And they have a ton of those. And they're going to be taking on more comics projects. Corvus will be printed after it's out as a trade paperback. So they're getting more into comics, but they have a lot of like traditional novels, novellas, and it's cool just to see, like, if you happen by their booth at a convention, just all the formats of storytelling that they offer.
What though, buddy? I have a story that I may want to sell them then.
Yeah,
it might fit their narrative, and it's really fucking cool. And I'm using my heritage, behind it.
Sure.
And it's fun. It's old school. Like, someone has called it the Puerto Rican version of Apocalypto with fucking a horror angle.
Okay. Yeah. So far, they've been great to work with. I can recommend them.
Hey, there we go. But all right, so, and also I know I saw this, but you gotta follow my man Buddy, yeah. But the Buddy himself, the man, the legend, the myth, Buddy or Die on X, Instagram is Brutacious. Yeah, apparently that's a stripper name from back in the day, Brutacious, because from Delicious, Predicious, Brutacious. Is that the story? Is it that you were a stripper back in the day? That would happen on the weekends and shit to make sure the comic got funded.
Yeah, you got to make money,
my man Buddy is fire. So what's popping, kid? Are you gonna be any conventions coming up soon? What's going on? Like, any place we could see you, get some signed books, shake your hand, have a chit chat, get geek out? What's popping?
For sure, yeah. So the first issue of Corvus is out September 25th. I'll be at Aquilonia Comics in Troy doing a signing, Troy, New York. And then the following Saturday, I'll be at Excellent Adventures Comics in Boston Spa, New York, also doing a signing. And then I'll be at New York Comic Con. Dead Sky will be at New York Comic Con.
I will see you at New York Comic Con then, bro. You even a lot of Puerto Ricans saying "wet," but it's me breaking neck, but you're gonna hear my big ass mouth. Don't you worry.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, we gotta hang out, brother. I appreciate the book. Definitely want a signed copy of this because it is a beautiful, gorgeous book. I mean, is it gonna be just you, or are you gonna have your team there as well?
I don't think Chris will make it out from South Africa. Allison, I know, will be there. So yeah, and I also lettered it, so I'm the writer letterer. So I will be there.
Hey, that's it, folks. You heard it. Check out Buddy's book, and not just Buddy's book. I mean, they have a vast array of amazing titles from amazing creators. So, Buddy's book is what you got to get right now. Make it rain, get that pre-order on. He told you it's coming on September. You still got some time. Go to LCS, put that on your checklist. Pong, you know what I mean? That's what you need. Buddy's an amazing creator. Follow him on social again at X on Buddy or Die, or Instagram at Brutacious, baby. Wherever. That name sounds so dirty. I'm just saying, bro. These Brutacious. But you need to make that shit into a hashtag with a t-shirt and just, stand and you sell your book like all proud, like, Come on, bro. You got to make it happen. Hey, baby. Hey, like that. Hey. He already got the stuff going on, bro. My man, he know. I love it. I love the energy. Buddy, you are the man. Mi gente, my fellow Crusaders, all of you that have been tuning in, I appreciate the crap out of you. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? You know what it is. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. Check out comiccrusaders.shop. Comic Crusaders World on YouTube. Comic Crusaders on Rumble, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on, you know what I mean? Every place else, show the love. Snapchat even, I ain't showing you my snaps though, right? Don't be getting no wild ideas, mi gente. With that, not for real. I'm just kidding. Love you guys. Thank you, everybody. Buddy, you have been a wonderful guest, and always welcome back. Again, don't hype PR, baby. Big shout out to Big Mel. All right, pa que sepan, huepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.